ladies and gentlemen, to the Hobart Town Hall, all the way from the other side of the world, back with us now, and with a smile on her face and putting a smile on all of ours, Ingrid Betancourt.
How are you? Well, sir. Please. Okay.
It's incredible to have seen this. I've never had the opportunity to see this again. So it's well, I don't know. I was thinking things like, for example, oh, I have the same. I'm in grade too. So it's and somehow I was thinking that I'm thinking exactly the same. So now if you ask me what happened during those 6 years in the jungle,
That's coming.
Well, I'm realizing that probably nothing.
But it did. So tell us what happened on that fateful day as you were going to this town where the Greens were being bombed, the town was being bombarded, and you got calls saying, come and help us. What happened then?
Well, Greens were involved in this story because you see, the reason why I wanted to go to that specific place that day was because the mayor of San Vicente, the village where I was going, was a member of the Green Party, of our Green Party. And when I had been there for the elections, in campaigning for him, I had said to the people of San Vicente, I'm here with you because we need to unite ourselves in order to have this man elected, which he's the best. And I'll be here with you in the good times and in the bad times. So this was the bad times, because the city of San Vicente had held, very generously actually, the peace talks with the FARC. It was the village that had offered its space for the FARC to... Okay, the FARC is, well, they were my captors. They were the guerrilla that abducted me, a communist guerrilla. FARC stands for Force Armed Revolutionary of Colombia. Well, in Spanish, so you have to just... And they have been waging a war in Colombia since the 90s, 50s. And who they are now, it's difficult to say, because at the beginning they were peasants that took arm in order to defend themselves against some warlords that were it was a period in the history of Colombia called La Violencia, because between liberal and conservatives they would kill everybody. It was a bloodshed, and especially the peasants, because this political fight disguised a cruel and horrible bigger fight, which was an economic fight. And the target were the peasants, because those warlords, liberal or conservatives, wanted to just take the land from the peasants and through corruption make them theirs through deeds that were obtained via corruption. So these peasants decided to defend themselves. And then they were accused to be communists in the moment where there was the Cold War, and we were under the American influence, and there was this strategy that to just get rid of communists in the continent that was called the national security policy. And so it was easy to go after them because they were seen as communists. So what happened actually is that these guys had no ideology, they were just peasants trying to defend themselves, went to the USSR and found, of course, financing and support until the day the Berlin Wall collapsed and they had to finance themselves somewhere else, and they found the drugs and they became a huge drug cartel. And today, I think they are a drug cartel and not a revolutionary army. So that's...
And you had gotten into politics in Bogota in Colombia. Why did you do that?
For the same reason you do the same here.
I'm not sure. No, I understand that, yes.
Well, I think yes. I think it's pretty the same. I mean, this sensation that somebody has to say and do what we all want to do and say.
And in Canberra, you told me that you had had somebody come into your home and leave a note about your children.
Yes.
What did that say?
Oh, that was horrible. It was a note with a horrible picture of a mutilated corpse. And there was this message saying, you have to stop doing what you're doing because this is what is going to happen to your children. So...
What did you do?
I flew my children to New Zealand.
Yeah.
Just next door.
But you didn't leave your job.
No, I didn't. I think well, it was not an option. I didn't think that this threat would be there for forever. I thought it was a very it was a critical moment because I was denouncing the links between the Colombian president, Samper, and the drug cartels. So I was threatened because I was in revealing the ties that they were having, and of course, by doing this, I was touching interests, high interests. So I was, it was a difficult moment at the time. But then there was this other election, another new president came. I supported the election of this new president, Pastrana. And so I had the sensation that the threats had disappeared and I could have my children come back to Colombia again.
And then you're on your way to San Vicente and you are going to be flown past where the country controlled by the FARC rebels or terrorists, and you were going to get on a helicopter to be taken as a member of parliament to the town that was besieged. What happened there?
Well, we had planned this trip months before. It was in the agenda of the presidential campaign. But 2 days prior to my visit, the peace talks between the FARC and the government ended. So the government gave 48 hours to the FARC to evict the zone. And the government and the president was under big pressure because the president was accused to have given too much to the FARC in order to have them coming to the peace negotiation process. And especially the president had given them this territory, big as Switzerland, so it was a big piece of land. And it was controlled by the FARC. There was no police allowed, no military allowed, and the control truly was done by members of the FARC. They had replaced the police in a way. So we were at the end of those 48 hours, and the president of Colombia wanted to show Colombian people that he had succeeded in just regaining the control over the zone. And he was going to San Vicente exactly at the same day that I was going to go, to have this international press conference to say, look, this is so secure now, and it's so much under control that I'm here. Perhaps because I was in the opposition, because at the beginning of his term, of his presidential term, I supported him. But you know, politicians.
I have met one or two.
We had made a pact to have some constitutional reforms that were very important in order to clean the system from corruption. And guess what?
He didn't.
He didn't. So I went into the opposition, and then I had a very hard time. And probably because I was in the opposition now, the president decided that he didn't want me to be near this press conference he was holding. And so, to deter me from getting to San Vicente, he withdrew my security, my bodyguards. And all the, you know, the plan to get to San Vicente by road with armed cars, and a whole scheme of security, he just ordered to just abort the mission. So when I was confronting the situation, I had the call of the mayor of San Vicente, saying, you have to come, because this is getting rough and people are scared. And the pressure of the president withdrawing the security. And I thought, if I'll be doing this campaign, and every time I will decide to go somewhere the president is going to withdraw my security, I better stop. I mean, it was a principal issue. So I decided to go. I had been in that area many, many times. I knew it by heart. And it was the first time it was with such an incredible deal of security. I mean, there were soldiers everywhere. It was a huge military operation that they had launched to just be sure that the FARC was gone. I went through a military checkpoint, and the guys asked to show the identification cards, and they let us go through. And not only us, everybody, the traffic was normal. And I took the road, and 45 minutes after leaving the city I was, Florencia, in my going to San Vicente, there was a deviation on the road, and after the deviation, the FARC was there. And I didn't know it was the FARC at first, because they all dress the same. Military, FARC, paramilitaries, they all have this camouflage uniforms. So I remember thinking, oh, who are those guys? And then I looked at the boots, because they had instructed me that in Colombia, to see who's who, you had to check the boots. If there were leather boots, it was the army. And if there were rubber boots, it was the rebels. And those were rubber boots.
Rubber boots.
Yeah.
And who was with you?
There were 5 persons with me in the car. The driver, my assistant in the campaign, one French photographer, a journalist, and one guy from our campaign that was the one videotaping everything we were doing in the campaign.